Hi, I'm Dean Brusnighan, and I'm going to show you how to make fillable forms more accessible in Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. The step-by-step process ensures the form fields have an accessible label for screen reader users and are in the proper reading order. A common use of PDFs is to create a form that can be completed on the computer. Like all PDFs, I want to ensure my PDF form is accessible to all users. An excellent resource on this topic is available on the University of Washington website. Look for the link below. Thanks to the University of Washington for permission to adapt their materials for this video. Let's say I've just been given this PDF form that was made by someone else, and I'm in charge of making it accessible. I'm going to follow a series of steps to check and repair this form. Step 1. Is the form interactive? To check, I try to type into one of the form fields. That worked, so I can move on to the next step. If that didn't work, I would need to visit the University of Washington resource page to take additional steps to make the form interactive. Step 2. Is the tab order intuitive? Ensuring proper tab sequence helps a user flow logically from one field to another. To check, I place the cursor in the first form field, then press the Tab key until I go through the entire form. As I navigate, I see problems with the order. To fix it in Acrobat Pro DC, I select Prepare Form. I see all the form fields in my document listed in tab order in the right sidebar. As I click on a field name, it highlights that field in the document. When I locate the fields that are out of order, I simply drag and drop the field names into the correct order. I'll check the radio buttons. They're in the proper order. The checkboxes, they're in the proper order. My tab order is now correct. Step 3. Do all text fields have appropriate labels? To see the form field labels, called Tooltips, I right-click on the form field and select Properties. The Text Field Properties window should open to the General tab. This shows the name and the tooltip for the field. The tooltip is read by a screen reader for those who can't see the form. I want to enter descriptive text as my tooltip. For this field, the visual label in the form is Name. And for this field further down the page, the visual label is also Name. Each tooltip should be unique to avoid confusion, so I'll use nominee name for this tooltip. And I'll go through the rest of the fields, adding unique tooltips. Step 4. Are radio buttons appropriately grouped and labeled? Recall that radio buttons are used when only one item in a group can be selected. All radio buttons in a group should have the same name and the same tooltip. Recall that these fields are radio buttons in my document. I can check that by going to Preview, seeing that yes, only one item can be selected at a time, and I can return to edit the form. To check them, I right-click and select Properties. I see that each of them correctly have the same name and tooltip. The labels for individual radio buttons within the group are defined by going to Properties, then the Options tab, then Radio Button Choice. And I see that Radio Button Choice correctly shows always for this button, sometimes for this button, and more than expected really for this button. So they're all correct. Step 5. Are checkboxes appropriately labeled? Recall that checkboxes are used when multiple items in a group can be selected. Recall that these fields are checkboxes in my document. Again, I can see that by going to Preview, and I see multiple items can be selected. I return to edit the form by selecting Edit. Now, checkboxes can't have the same name and tooltip like radio buttons, so I must use a different way to show they all go together. In my group of checkboxes, I'll begin each tooltip with the heading that goes with the checkboxes. In my example, that's likes the same foods I like. And I'll finish each tooltip with the individual checkbox label. So, in the example, we see each tooltip begins with likes the same foods I like and ends with pizza for the first checkbox. And I use the same pattern for the other checkboxes. So those are all correct. And I'm ready to exit the Prepare Form tool. Step 6. Are there any URLs or email addresses in the document? If no, I can skip to the next step, but I have one here. So I select Edit PDF, then Link, then Auto Create Web Links from URLs. I select Yes. I click OK. Tells me it found one, and I'm ready to move on. When that's completed, I exit the Edit PDF tool. Step 7. I'm ready to add tags. I select Accessibility, then Auto Tag Document. That happens very quickly. I exit the Accessibility tool. Step 8. Repair tags as needed. I just asked Adobe to create tags for me, so now I'm going to check to see how well they did and fix any errors. I go to the Tags icon in the left sidebar. If it's not there, I can add it by right-clicking in the sidebar, then selecting Tags. To see all the tags, I hold down the Control key while I select the plus sign with the mouse. I see an error with this tag. It shows heading level 3, but should be heading level 1 because it's the title of the document. To change it, I right-click, select Properties, and select heading level 1. Step 9. Run an accessibility full check. I select Accessibility, then Full Check, then Start Checking. For additional instruction on using the Accessibility Checker, see the video in this series called Run the Accessibility Full Check. After reviewing the results of the full check and fixing any errors, my form is ready to be used by everyone, regardless of disability. If you have any questions about accessibility, please email tlt@purdue.edu.